What's going on, everybody? This is Brian from SneakerFiles.com, and we finally have the Air Jordan 1 Banned, aka Bred 2016 release, real versus fake comparison. Now, this video is for educational purposes only. In no way, shape, or form do we support the unauthorized or fake sales of sneakers. This video is strictly for those that want to purchase an authentic pair on the aftermarket, and maybe you missed out on an authorized retailer, so you're going to go to eBay or the message boards and things like that, and you're going to pick up a pair, and hopefully this video will help you guys out. Now, before we jump into the closer look and everything, if you guys want, you can hit the pause button on the video right now to guess which pair is real, which one's fake. It should be very, very easy based off one thing alone, which I will get more into in the future. Alright, so if you've done that, this pair is obviously the authentic pair. This was purchased from an authentic retailer, and this is the fake pair. So the next three things isn't something like, oh, if you spot this, if you don't spot it, that means they're real. But the fake pair, one thing you will notice is the way it was laced. So obviously the way to combat against this would be to unlace it, but that's how they came, so that's something to look out for. Another thing is they came with this shoehorn, or whatever the hell, or not shoehorn, but the plastic insert thing. An authentic pair does not come with this, so that's one thing you want to look out for. Another thing is in the box, these are how the laces came on the fake pair. And as you can see on the authentic pair, they come attached, for one. For two, the size difference in the packaging is just, it's very obvious. And even the laces are just undone. So this isn't something like tell all, be all type of deal, because it would be very easy for me to just not include this, unlace this, and not include that. But if they do come with anything like that, be alarmed that that pair is fake. They also came with this little insert. I have no idea what this is on the fake pair, of course. Maybe somebody wants to leave a comment on that. It almost looks like something that would come, like if you purchased this pair from overseas at Nike store, that it would be in the box, but it's all, I believe, in Chinese, so I really don't know what's it's saying. Now, getting more into the details about the shoes, to help you distinguish between a real and fake pair. On the fake pair, right out the bat, you see peaks. You could see some right in here. Well, just a peak, I should say, but it's on the other pair or other shoe as well. Whereas the authentic pair is just a clean cut piece of leather overlay. And you could see even the perforations across the toe are aligned differently and even shaped differently. Slightly bigger on the fakes on this pair. I know there's some fakes out there that do have like smaller holes, like you could tell. I think I saw somebody post a picture about that, but on this particular pair, the holes do not line up. So obviously, you know, that's something that has to do with the fake manufacturer. And you can even see the leather cut right here. It's just, it looks bad. Like you could see the spacing is just all off on the front of the toe. Whereas this one's a bit more cleaner. But let's be honest, not every pair of authentic Jordans come out clean. You know, there's manufacturer errors. However, this is kind of like something big and easily you can notice. What I forgot to mention earlier in the video is that both are a size 10. So what means is basically they should be about the same as far as height goes, width, and certain elements to that extent. I mean, they're both created with the same mold. Now, what the differences would vary is like the stitching, the quality, and things being put together. However, the differences between the fake and the real are just, you know, too drastic. So, on the fake pair, we got, first up, we got a wider tongue, and just the stitching is just like, it's not just in this area, which you can see right here, it's all throughout, which we will get more into later. So we got a wider tongue and actually more padding in the fake versus just your normal size tongue. It's not as wide, and there's padding in here, just not as much as this pair. Another thing is the actual laces, the way it sits. So your bottom lace on this pair actually will cover, when it sits flat like that, it'll actually cover the stitching on the bottom part where basically the toe and the tongue meet. So you won't be able to see it. On this pair, an authentic pair, the laces will sit just below the stitching, the top lace. So that's something you'll also see, as well as the toe box. The width on the fake is a lot wider, and it just, I mean, if you could easily, if you had a real and a fake pair in hand, you could tell the difference. Like, just the shape of the toe box is just strictly off. You can see how this pair, it's just lopsided. Now, as far as the material goes across the toe, the authentic pair is very, very nice. It is a tumbled leather, very, very soft. And the fake pair, it is as well tumbled leather. It's not as soft, but it's not terrible, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So they kind of did match up somewhat nice. So avoid looking at the actual quality of the leather used, because that, you know, that could just be, to the untrained eye, could be looked right over. So we got the fake pair right here, and you could see the Nike Air. For one, it is lopsided as hell. For two, you could see the spacing amount between where it says Air and then the bottom part of the tab where it curls in. You can see that there's quite a bit of space between the two. Now, let's see how I did that. Now, here is the authentic pair. It actually aligns straight. There is no gap between it. It just pretty much sits flush against that first ridge right here. Even as it sits on the top part, you could see more black exposed. Oops, got to bring it down a little bit. More black exposed on the top part of the tongue where this tag is versus this pair, the fake. Okay, here's the fake pair. On the inside of the tongue, you have, you know, basically all your trademark stuff. It's on the fake pair, it's a lot smaller, the font that is used. Whereas the authentic pair, it's a bit bigger in size. The differences are I mean, it's good enough you could actually see. Here's a comparison of the two side by side. And you'll also see on the real pair, within the white stitching, there is hits of black. You see that right there? And that will go all the way across. Whereas the fake pair has nothing to do with that. Nothing, features nothing of that sort. Also, where the stitching is right here, you could just see they kind of just left it. It's not really flush. It's just kind of hanging out there on the fake pair. Whereas on the authentic pair, it is flush against the tongue. And that's just due to a clean cut. Okay, here's something that's more, it's kind of like whoever makes the fake pairs, this kind of goes to, it's different between all of them, if that makes any sense. But the actual, like the old school, what is it, like the product number and stuff like that, that's now obviously the size, the year, the month, and the date, and then the X. So first up, on the authentic pair, you could actually, when you touch it, you feel, you know, you could feel it. It's like stamped on top of it. However, on the fake pair, you could still feel it. It's actually just a lot more like, if you wore these with low cut socks, this would actually dig in to your ankle. Like, that's how rough it is. Now, I've also heard of it being non-existent. Basically, it's just like a screen print on it. So, I mean, it varies. So the difference is obviously would be the touch, but you would need a real pair in hand to see that. Another thing is you could see where it points to. So the date points up to this top area right here, okay, where that stitching is. Now in the fake pair, it actually just runs kind of like straight across. It just points in the middle of these top two eyelets. And you could just see the shot job right here with the red laces, or the red stitching on the side. Okay, so we're looking at the kind of like the heel, more towards the collar area. On the fake pair, there's a lot more padding that goes a little bit down versus the authentic pair. Less padding, of course. And each pair has tumbled leather, and you can probably see it best from the heel area. But on the real pair, it's like more of a smooth tumble leather. Like it's there, it's visible, but it's just, it's smooth, it's soft. Where this looks like a lizard's ass. Like you could just see the ripples in there. It's not as clean by any means. Also, the cut on the overlays is definitely more raw versus the Authentics isn't perfect, but it's a lot cleaner. And then this overlay on the heel, might as well just jump to the heel. You can see the peak right there. There will be peaks throughout where this is clean. Well, I shouldn't say clean because it's a raw cut, but difference. And then we have the height of the collar, which there's a lot more of that synthetic up here versus the Authentics. The fake pair looks bowed, like it just looks off. You could just see that. And then it just spreads out. This little tab is a bit larger on the fake. And you can kind of see how right here, you see how it kind of, like a woman's hips, kind of goes out. This is just like, no, there's no going out. It's just straight down. See, kind of bows. Even the midsole looks a bit boxy in this area. Might be able to see that. Like they kind of messed up and just went over it. And this is just your clean midsole. So up front, we got the fakes once again, and as you can see, the swoosh is just raw. It's almost like denim material. It's not as clean cut at all. The stitching is just all messed up and out of order. And then we have the authentic pair, which is just a smooth. I mean, I wouldn't say smooth because it is a bit raw, but look at that. There's no nothing fringing everywhere, going crazy. Nothing in that case whatsoever. Another big thing I noticed too was here's the authentic, and you could see the stitching. So the stitching that comes down from here, it just about almost touches the swoosh and then cuts down. Okay. Now here's the fake pair. So the stitching goes about, it starts about the same area as the authentic, but you could see that there's quite a bit more space before it just decides to cut down through the swoosh. As far as the wings logo goes, so the fake pair is a bit bigger, a little less glossy, not as glossy as the authentic pair, but it's bigger in size. And even the holes up top on the eyelets aren't clean cut. You could just see like they almost used an ice pick and then like cored out a hole. Versus this pair by no means is perfect, but it's a lot cleaner. So one of the main differences you're going to see between the shoes is cleaner overall. The quality is so much nicer. It might be hard for you to really tell up this close. Maybe it'd be something you'd have to see in person. But on the authentic pair, the stitching is more compact and more aligned on this overlay and even through the toe. And then we have the fake pair right here, which, by the way, is very, very flimsy. Yeah, you can see, very flimsy, and it's more spread out. It's very minimal, very small differences. It even looks like the leather the synthetic base has stretch marks throughout the side, whereas the leather on the authentic pair, it's a little bit grainy, slight grain. But yeah, you could just see it's like almost like welted. And even the midsole, the height of the midsole on the authentic versus the fake. The authentic the fake's on the right and the authentic is on the left, is bigger. And the shading of white is different slightly. So it might be hard to pick that up, but it's almost on the authentic pair, it's almost slightly, almost a sail, almost a cream, but like a slight tint to it, whereas it's like a true white pair. Again, that would be something you would have to have a real versus fake in hand to tell the difference. Some of these tips throughout are, but with this video, I'm hoping that if you're watching this and you're about to, you know, compare to buy an authentic, this will help a lot. Up front, we got the authentic, and basically the same deal with the other side. It comes up a little bit higher on the authentic on this side, but then it cuts down versus the fake pair. The stitch sits higher and then comes down. And just the quality on this is a bit better on the fakes, but you could still see like the stitching is not right. There's still these like raw cuts, and yeah, it's just not as well put together. Whereas the authentic, it's still a raw cut, but it's a lot cleaner, and you could actually see the difference. Really quick, I'm throwing in a size 13. This pair is an authentic as well, just to show you a few things that you may have like questions about. So here you could almost see it does sit up a little bit higher than my size 10 authentic, but it's still a lot lower than the stitch on the fake pair. And you can just see the quality is still a lot better. The actual the cuts and everything like that sits about the same on my authentic pair on the size 13. And see how high that sits on the fakes. Another thing is the actual the size tag 13, 84, 10, 18X points to that top line. And this is size 13 right here, authentic. And then this just kind of like just goes to the middle of it. So this was just to show you that although Jordan Brand, you know, there are manufacturing errors between shoes and nothing is perfect. This is a totally different size, and this still compares to the size 10 of the authentic. So yes, there are manufacturing errors. Stitching and discrepancies and things like that could happen, but not to the point. You can still see this top bottom stitching will be exposed from where the tongue and the toe meet it's just above that, what is it, the top the bottom lace. Two different sizes, but pretty much the overall, as far as the shape goes, are pretty much the same. Obviously they're going to sit higher because it's a bigger shoe, but the overall shape, the overlays, the size and stuff like that match up. What might be kind of hard to pick up on camera is the actual shading of the sole. So on the real pair, it's a slightly darker than the fake, which would be hard to see. However, the stars on the real pair are smaller. You might be able to pick that. Yeah, you should be able to pick that up. And now here's the fake pair. You could see, maybe we could get a side by. I'm not sure if that'll come out really well, but you could see the stars, yeah. Very different in size. As far as the Nike Air goes, I mean, it looks about on point, to be honest. And everything else is about on point with the sole. So the thing you want to look for is the stars, the actual size of them, which would be smaller on an authentic pair. Here's the size tag on the authentic pair. As you can see, the run date is April 13th, 2016 through June 22nd, 2016. Now to the fake pair, as you can see, the font is just all off. We have April 13th, 2016 through June 2nd, 2016. Now, I might be super petty on this next part, but I just chalk it up to me being, you know, analyzing everything. And since, you know, we do that over here, we're going to continue it. So the stitching, the white stitching that you'll see that secures the panels to the midsole throughout, it's actually spread out a bit further. This is the fake pair. Now let's jump to the authentic. Very minimal, but it's enough to tell the difference. It's more of a cleaner stitch as well. One of the easiest ways to tell of any shoe if they're real or fake from Jordan Brand is the insole. And I don't get why people don't look to that. I mean, yeah, someone can pull out the insole, but if it's from, it says Nike Air, so it's obviously from Nike and Jordan Brand, you could tell. So we got the fake pair right here, and we got the real pair. You could see that it's a true white on the real versus kind of like this, I don't know, it's a different shade of white, if that makes any sense. But you could see the difference on camera. There's a big difference between the two. And then the Nike Air branding is a bit more vibrant red versus the one on the fake pair. Now here is what another trick is telling between real and fakes, and I've seen a lot of fakes. So still we have the fake, or the real on the right, we have the fake on the left. And okay, the shading of blue is obviously different, but even the glue, the patterns of glue that are used, it cuts it's slightly, you know, angled, but not very much, and it's a different type of glue used because it looks almost yellowish. Versus here's the real pair. It's actually a clean, angled, and it's white, almost looks crusty. Still bad, but I mean, you know, you could see the differences in shading. They don't use the same insoles on either other pair. And as for the inserts and things like that, that'll be more towards the end of the video. But I wanted to show you that since we're going on the inside of the shoe right now. Okay, so first up we have the authentic pair. Now, one of the biggest differences is, you'll see it says black varsity red white, and this is Nori Blanc varsity rogue. I'm sure that's in a different language. I'm sorry, you know, roast me in the comments if you want, because I don't know the language. But here. Black varsity red white, and that matches up. The font is different, but then it says Nori R Pro Blanc. So I believe this was like the size tag from the 2013 release, if I'm not mistaken. So they used obviously a different either the older one or just something totally different. As far as the fonting goes, or the font goes, it's almost the same, slightly different. It's a little bit more bolder on the authentic box. Okay, so here's the back of the box. As you can see, the branding is a bit, it's not as bold on the fake one. You can see, especially where it says strike our trademarks. See, on those two, actually, you probably won't be able to see this. So here's the fake one first. You can see stripe our trademarks. See how it's kind of, you know, it's there, but it's not that bold. Here's the authentic, stripe our trademarks. You can see it stands out quite a bit more. I didn't want to talk about how the box is a bit beat up, and I didn't want to talk about that because you know, it's very, very possible for you to buy off somebody and the box comes beat up because of shipping, or they're just not that careful with taking care of their shoes. But other than that, I mean, like, the black is a little bit off. It's like more of a faded black on the fake box. So now we're getting inside the lid. First things first, the fake pair has a quality control sticker on it, on the inside of the lid, whereas the authentic does not come with the quality control sticker. However, it does have this little, like, the stamp on the inside. Another thing is the swoosh up top on the reel is, I would say, bigger. Definitely, yeah, a bit bigger. And the swoosh is a little more, where it says swoosh, is a bit more prominent. You could see it stands out a bit more. And here's the fake box, so you could see the difference. Not a huge difference, but it's enough. You might be able to see that. I don't want to talk about how the swoosh is, like, almost, because it could just be because the box is damaged, but you probably be able to see that, yeah. Now we're jumping inside of the box, and as you can see, the paper used is different between the two. So on the left, we have the authentic, and on the right, we have the fake. So to the touch itself, a lot smoother on the fake versus, like, you could feel like a grit to it. And not only that, I mean, you could see the differences in almost that shade of whatever the hell that is, like, I guess a super, super light brown. This is almost like a white, and this is leaning more towards brown. But it should be able to pick up on that. As far as the cardboard itself, it actually looks like cardboard. It's kind of like, you know, just your smooth, the line. You can see some lines, but they're going, you know, across. So the fakes, their cardboard lines go down. Like, it's the small things, people. It's the small things that add up to make a shoe fake. A lot of people don't know that. So here are the inserts. So as you can see right here, we have the fake and we have the real on the left. So this little insignia right here, I'm not sure what it stands for, to be honest with you, but you could see where the arrow is. It's indented in, and even I believe that's Chinese characters. I'm not positive on that, but that's indented in versus it being pushed out on the authentic. Other than that, you have your cardboard. It just looks different. It's a bit more rich on the fake versus a faded on the real. You could see where everything sits and stuff like that. It's a bit off. I don't want to go too heavy on that because it is cardboard, but yeah, there's nothing really, just the shading of the difference on the two. But just the biggest difference would be this insignia up here would be pushed in on the fakes, pushed out on the real. Alright everybody, so that finishes up our comparison of the authentic versus fake Air Jordan 1 band. This is the 2016 release. If there's anything I may have missed in the video that maybe you saw, please leave a comment below. As well, remember that this is for educational purposes only. We do not support the sale of fake shoes. So this is obviously for those that want to buy this pair on the aftermarket but do not want to get swindled. Now, I like to thank Crep because this project, which actually came because of an accident, and I wouldn't say an accident, but somebody tried to swindle me, but turned it into something positive. And going forward, I thought this would be great to continue to showcase and, you know, present this series to you guys. So if there's any pair of shoes you want to see, leave a comment below. Next one up should be the Yeezy 350 Boost, the V2. After that, it's up in the air. So if there's anything you'd like to see, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to SneakerFiles.com. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe.